I know you wrote some kind of must-see matchups coming in. Let's go through a couple of them. You had the Browns DBs, Eagles wide receivers. Did you get a look at that? What did you think?
Yeah, and I kind of forgot that AJ Brown's still dealing with some lingering injuries. So he was a little he wasn't really out there doing much from he's still limited with the Eagles here at camp. So not a lot from him, but I know Lanza mentioned this as well, but there was a matchup early on in one-on-ones where Denzel got like a really good rep on Devontae Smith and broke up a pass and made a really nice play. It was cool to kind of see him and Devontae sort of talking off on the side after after that session, and just kind of pick each other's brains on like what he's looking for from a DB, what Denzel's looking for from a receiver. And I asked him about that afterwards, and I think it's kind of interesting just to see like what those conversations tend to be like. But yeah, I thought Denzel held his own like he tends to do. He was part of the reason the defense I thought had a good day. I think I would have liked to see more of Greg Newsome. But I understand he's still dealing with the shoulder injury. And yeah, I think some of the other guys, I mentioned Ronnie Hickman made a nice interception, and there were some other moments for some of those secondary guys. I thought Cameron Mitchell had some bad moments and some good moments kind of mixed in. But it's a good setting for sure to get those guys reps against a really good receiving core and some ones that are out there for the Eagles that can obviously do some damage. And I think one thing I think we also noticed was that they struggle a little bit with still guarding tight ends, and they didn't really have many answers for Dallas Goedert today, and I think that was pretty evident as well.
So the other one, Browns defensive line, Eagles offensive line. We've talked a little bit about that. If the Browns defensive line gets penetration against the Eagles, they can probably do that
Yeah.
against most NFL lines.
Yeah. And in the piece, I mentioned specifically like Mason as a part of that. Obviously, as a whole, like I wanted to see what this defensive line would do. But Mason going up against again, what everyone's touting as the best offensive line in football, arguably. And I know there was obviously no Landon Dickerson in there. So, that's something that they're dealing with as well. But I thought he held his own. And for a rookie to show you that, I think was impressive. But it was that whole group up front for the Browns that I thought had a really strong day, and again, sets the tone, I think, for this defense to be able to have that bounce back season that everybody's thinking they're going to have.
The offensive line against the Eagles defensive line, and again, that's a huge one.
Yeah.
Is there a little bit of hope with the offensive line that they might be getting closer to what they were 2 years ago instead of what they were last year?
I think there is some hope. Like I thought they held. Keep using the phrase "held their own," but I felt like they did some nice things today. I think they protected the quarterbacks relatively well in pass protection. The run game continues to still be something that I think is still figuring itself out and getting going though. And so when you're going up against the guys that this Eagles defense has in the interior, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, like those two guys are absolutely monsters. Like it's tough sledding trying to run in that A gap specifically and inside because those two guys are just sort of kind of clog things up. I thought they had a couple runs today, the Browns that is, where they got outside and it was like an outside zone run and they were able to kind of break it for a little bit, and that was good to see. But I think that interior run game is still sort of struggling, and so I think that's an area I want to see a little bit more from tomorrow and see if they can continue to build upon that because we know for this offense to be successful, they got to get back to running the football, and they need that offensive line to be successful, especially in that phase of the game.